Thank you. A little while ago, there was a series of ads where people were enjoying themselves on a beach, hanging out with friends, and then high-fiving each other with pieces of chicken. There was a KFC ad, and probably like you, I thought, well, that's absolute bullshit. But bear with me, because I'm about to tell you a tenuous linked story about how great nights start with fried chicken. So, it was my 4th trip to Japan. I'm in Kyoto, and it was the beginning of my 3rd week. I was at that point where I had greatly underestimated how much money I would spend. And so I got to that point where you're sort of trying to figure out how you're going to make it to the airport, how you're going to have enough money. And I was sort of hanging around the hostel, and I was, you know, on Facebook, sort of writing on Facebook how I needed some time alone. I needed some time to calm down from all the fun I was having, but really it was just I was poor and I wanted to go out and rage. Anyway, it got to the afternoon and I was sick of feeling sorry for myself, so I decided I would comfort myself with food. And I went to the 100 yen store where ironically everything is 105 yen. And the minute I walked in, the first thing I saw was this red and white packet. Turns out it was a KFC collaboration with Calbee, one of the big Japanese chip companies. So like any kid who has rebelled against acne and their metabolism, I instantly picked it up, and much to the chagrin of the shopkeeper, I opened the packet in store. I'm one of those people. And I opened it, and lo and behold, it tasted exactly like KFC 11 herbs and spices. None of this crappy chicken salt shit we have here. It was absolutely delicious. So, forgetting my self-imposed budget, I instantly bought 8 bags of it. I walked out the store back to the hostel. I didn't have any bag. I was too involved in chomping down the chips that I walked back. I thought I was alone in my room. I came back, turns out there was an Irish guy staying there with me. And I walked in and I sort of was eating the chips, and I nodded to him and I thought, look Dan, you're alone, you're by yourself. I have to say, I'm the type of person, I don't find it hard to meet people and to make friends, but up until then, I had the problem that I never liked asking for things. And so I had this self-imposed mantra that I would ask, and I thought, this is the perfect way to start it. So I shoved the bag of chips in this guy's face and said, dude, you have to try these chips. And he said, no, I'm okay. And I said, no, you have to try these chips. Would you like to try some? Because, you know, asking questions. And anyway, he reluctantly tried it, and that started the conversation. He went, wow, these do taste like the 11 herbs and spices. And that got us talking. And he was telling me how he was going to leave the next day. I don't know whether that was because of me, but he said he was going to leave the next day. And he said he was in search of in his Lonely Planet guide, they said there was this cheap sushi place. So I said, Dan, think of the chips. He liked those. You asked a question. Ask if you can join him for dinner. So he must have looked at me odd because I was probably thinking to myself. And I said, can I join you for dinner? And he reluctantly, I thought reluctantly at the time, said yes. Anyway, we started walking and we were chatting, and turns out we have a lot in common. He was 6 years older than me, he was 30. His name's Ali, by the way. You'll never meet him. Anyway, we hit it off instantaneously. He liked 30 Rock, I like 30 Rock, that's all you need to know. And we were searching for this sushi place, apparently had really cheap sushi. So we're wandering around Kyoto, up and down these streets. The Lonely Planet guide wasn't being help at all. But we were just chatting. Anyway, after 45 minutes of chatting and not finding this place, we began to get really hungry. Anyway, eventually, we just couldn't find it, and we turned to each other, and in a scene that probably wouldn't be out of place in like a sitcom, he turned to me and we both said instantaneously, hey, I've heard of this place, Mr. Young Men. And that cemented our friendship. It was like a stepbrothers moment. Did we just become friends? Yep. And we headed off to this place. Now, up until now, I had been in Kyoto 3 times, and I had walked past and taken photos in front of this restaurant called Mr. Young Men, but I never knew what they served there. It's a really unfortunate name. They don't serve young men. Well, they served me, but I mean they don't serve young men to eat. Anyway, we went in there, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was the best okonomiyaki I have ever had. Now, many of you have probably waited outside of a vendor at Eat Street Markets that sells Japanese pizza. That is an insult to okonomiyaki and pizza. So, I digress. Okonomiyaki is more like an omelette or a pancake. It's a mixture of flour, eggs, seafood, and vegetables. It's absolutely amazing. And in the cold of winter that it was, the steam was rising up. We were sitting there surrounded by just Japanese people in this 80s-esque dingy place that hadn't been changed for about 20 years, enjoying this delicious pizza and having good conversation. And eventually the conversation about how they came about the name Mr. Young Men ran thin, and I thought, maybe I'll ask. Think of the chips. So I said, would you like to go out for a drink? And he said, Ali, yes, I'd love to. I am leaving tomorrow, so I probably don't want to have a big night. Which, as you all know, is the magic words that you say before you wake up naked in yours or someone else's apartment. We go out. We're looking up and down. We can't find anywhere to go. There are all these weirdos trying to get us into their bars. But then finally we see this place that says, free for foreigners, 500 yen for Japanese. Now that would definitely not fly over here if you told the locals they'd have to pay and everyone else was free. But we thought, well, it's free, we're cheap, let's go in. Went down, it was a total dive bar. The waitress was wearing cat ears, she had tattoos, she waved us in, no one else was there. And I thought, fuck. But she served us popcorn, because in Japan, apparently that is what you serve people at a bar. In Italy and other places, and Spain, they give you tapas. But here, it was popcorn. So I start munching on that. Next minute, this Australian, well, I didn't know he was Australian, I asked him. He came and sat next to us. Let's just call him Dickhead. I didn't travel 8 hours by plane to meet another Australian who I probably wouldn't associate with over here. He had just been on a boys' trip. He had just been going through an abandoned theme park. He was, okay, how could I describe him? He was the type of guy who probably read the game a few too many times. He probably thought about signing up to a Julian Blanc class. He could probably tell you how many standard drinks were in every drink he drank. He was a marine biologist and marine conservationist, but I think he just did that so he had one redeeming feature. Anyway, I gathered that from the 2 sentences I spoke to him. And anyway, so I just went back to my popcorn and left Ali to talk to Dickhead. Suddenly these 2 girls come in. They're beautiful girls. They sit next to me and they start speaking what I recognize as Spanish. I'm hoping it's Spanish because I'm going to look like an idiot. So I'm thinking to myself, Dan, you can either keep eating this popcorn or you can think of the chips, think of the questions, ask. If you want something, ask for it. So I turn. These 2 girls are having a great conversation by themselves, but I wasn't having any conversation, so I wanted a part of it. So I very uncharmingly tapped one of the girls on the shoulder and said, "Hi there, are you speaking Spanish? Are you from Spain?" The one on the far right, who turns out her name was Daniela, just stared at me, said something in Spanish to a friend, and the one next to me, Isa, she turned and said, "No, we're from Venezuela." And it was like I'd seen a unicorn. I've never met anyone from Venezuela, let alone 2 beautiful girls. So all these Pitbull video clips are playing in my head. And I think I'm definitely talking to these guys, Ali can deal with idiot over there. So I start talking, making really horrible conversation. Anyway, after a while, the beers start getting low. And I think, Dan, think of the chips, this is going to end really quickly if you don't ask something. So I asked the loaded question, what are you guys doing tonight? Smooth. What are you guys planning on doing now? Anyway, so Daniela the whole time, who had only been speaking in Spanish, suddenly spoke English and said, well, we're going to finish these drinks and then go. She didn't say it in an Australian accent, but I thought, okay, shit. And I said, no, Dan, come on, think of the chips. So I said, can we join you? And Isa instantly said, yes. And Daniela goes, oh, I don't feel so good, I'm going to the bathroom. And so I said to the guys, these girls said that it's cool if we join them, do you want to go? And of course, the dickhead was like, oh fuck yeah. Because he was lecherous. And Ali, who I'd hit it off with, he was like, well, I'm up for anything. I've already said magic words. I know this is going to be a big night. And I said, is your friend okay? She's been in the bathroom for like 10 minutes now. And I thought, here we go. And her friend says, no, she's just allergic to something. She's feeling a bit sick. So I thought she was going to, you know, chuff off. Turns out she came back. She wasn't allergic to us. She was just reacted badly to something. But they said, come on, let's go. So we've obviously drunk a bit by now. We go to this club and we're having a great time. I'm dancing, having a good time. Old mate Dickhead's being lecherous on the two girls. He missed me out in the rounds, so I sort of got upset about that as well. So he wasn't good in my books, but Ali was making up for it by buying me drinks, so it was all good. Anyway, and so it got a bit hot and sweaty on the dance floor, and I needed to go to the air conditioning unit. So I sat there at the air conditioning unit with my shirt up over the aircon. It was winter, alright, but it hadn't been that hot for a while. Anyway, and this guy who had just come back from Chicago, his name's Junichi, who obviously I found out later. He is a Japanese guy who just come back from Chicago in a band. He said, hey, this bar closes at 12 AM, do you want to come party with us afterwards? Do you want to kick on? Well, he didn't say kick on, he didn't know the word, but I said, yes, I would love to join you. I said, guys, we're going to a kick on. So we go over, we go out of this bar when it closes. Evidently I'm just ordering people around. It was that time of the night. We go to the 7-Eleven where you can buy all the alcohol and all the chips that you want. And I reluctantly found these KFC chips again, so naturally I bought like another 3 packets. Told everyone, you've got to try these. Anyway, I brown out for a while. And I come to, and where do I come to? I come to, in the middle of explaining to Junichi, his 2 other Japanese friends, Daniela, Issa, Dickhead and Ali, how to play chicken goggles. Now I'm told this isn't a game, but it's my favourite thing if I need to make friends and I want to drink, it's chicken goggles. Those of you who haven't played, it's where you pass around the circle by going Puka! And to the left, Puka! And obviously if you want to skip, obviously, you go Puka! And so it was a great game. It transcends languages. In any case, that's when I had my drunken 3 AM epiphany. I was sitting between 2 beautiful Venezuelan girls, and through a cacophony of baka, 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 I realized that I could owe it all to the Colonel's 11 herbs and spices. Thank you.